Welcome to Rated In. I'm Matt.
And this is Rachel. And we just got back from our second plane trip post-COVID, where we went to Kansas. So we went and visited family for Thanksgiving. We were in Manhattan, which is a nice little college town. And we were in Kansas City, both Kansas and Missouri.
Right.
Not that I truly know the distinction.
Confusing for Americans and those abroad, I'm sure.
Yeah. When I'm actually there, I can't tell you which state I'm actually in.
There's a river.
I'm in a state of Kansas City. So we're going to walk you through that.
So for most of my life, my folks, or my dad and stepmother, they lived in Colorado. And then a few years back, maybe 5 or 6, we should know at this point.
I think it's 6.
They moved to Kansas, Manhattan, Kansas.
Right.
And oftentimes what our friends say is like, why would they move to Manhattan, Kansas? And
actually, that's what everyone says.
You're right, everyone says that.
Although, if you leave Colorado, everyone acts as though you have gone completely and utterly insane. And, like, Colorado's a nice place, but, like, there are reasons to leave. It's okay.
Yeah. No, you're right. There's like a real pride
in
Colorado. And I think all states have a pride, but Colorado seems to take it a little bit different.
I mean, Colorado is a nice place, but, like, there are reasons to go. That there's a lot of traffic. Things are increasingly expensive because it's nice, right? Like, I mean, trust me, like, other states are okay, y'all.
Yeah, right. And so the more times we've visited to Manhattan and Kansas in general, the more I really enjoy the area. Like, Manhattan's got a nice chillness to it. We didn't have a chance to do it this time, but the Beach Museum is really nice. It's the Kansas State Art Museum that's on the campus there. We've been there.
I will say it's probably often quite chill because we are there over a spring break or
over
a Thanksgiving. I bet if we were there when they win a football game, we would feel as though they are slightly less chill.
Yeah. Well, when I say chill, it's like, I mean, but that's a good call out. Right. We are always there sort of around holidays. We're in between school because that's when you have a chance to travel.
Right.
But when I say chill, it's like, yeah, it seems like a nice place. There's a good selection of restaurants. There's a cute little downtown you can walk in. There's this area called Aggieville. All in all, it reminds me a little bit of Fort Collins, Colorado, like a smaller version of when I moved there in 1992.
Right.
So it's definitely much smaller than Fort Collins, always has been. I don't remember what they said the population was.
I don't either. Fort Collins now is 165,000, and I think when we both moved there, well, I moved there in 95, and you moved there in 92.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was below 100,000 at that point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So it feels, yeah, I mean...
But I bet Manhattan's not even 70.
It's probably 50 to 60.
Like 50 to 60?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've had some good meals there. There's some little breweries. It's just kind of a cool place.
Yeah, it's pleasant.
Yeah, it's a perfectly nice place to live. I would think there's plenty of other places like, sorry, Toledo friends, like Toledo, that I would much prefer to not live in Toledo. I would much prefer to live in Manhattan, Kansas. Only drawback is, well, 2 minor drawbacks. One is it's about 2 hours from a major airport.
Yeah, and that's a drag if you're a person who travels as much as we do in normal times.
Yeah.
I hate one of the most stressful parts about traveling to me is the uncertainty of getting to the airport
mm-hmm.
and making sure that all goes smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
And so in Atlanta, I can get on the train and that's a known value, and I get there and I know where I arrive and that's all a known value. So it's much less stressful. But like I was thinking about when we used to fly out at Denver, you would have to drive there and then you would park in the long-term parking, and it was always like a big question mark about when the shuttle would come.
Mm-hmm.
My God, that's like my worst stress, is just like sitting there being so close to the airport and yet not knowing how soon I will actually be able to arrive.
Right. And then so the second drawback to visiting Manhattan, Kansas, besides the drive, is that the Kansas City airport is kind of a trash pile.
Oh God, it's garbage.
Like there's aspects of it that I could see being nice, but there's almost nothing there. It's so strange.
I mean, I think it was probably a good airport when you wanted to travel in like 1974. Mm-hmm. It's not a good airport when you want to travel in 2021.
If you've never been there, which you probably haven't, I think it's
Maybe you have.
It's
Maybe
2
you're
or
one of
3
the
terminals.
lucky many.
Right, yeah.
Because it's a major airport.
Right. But it's not like your normal airport where you park at a place, you go to a big building which has multiple terminals maybe that are connected by trains or anything like that. It's sort of these like 2 or 3 rings. I think it was originally 3 rings. And the terminal is basically a giant semicircle. And you don't enter at one end and then go into the terminal. You enter basically the exterior walkway that has a number of closed stores.
Right.
And the restaurants and such that are there appear to close at 5 o'clock on Saturday. Not that you're going to be going to the Kansas airport to like hang out at the bar unless you're traveling.
But I mean, like I saw so many families with kids who were like trying to get food for their kids before they got on a flight, because of course you don't get food on flights anymore. So like there's nowhere to do that. I mean, we bought a sandwich from a cooler case, but I was also there and there were 2 options of sandwiches, and of course someone with kids their kid was like, I don't like that, and I'm like, fair, but you have literally almost no choices.
Yeah, right. And then to get to the gates, you go through like there's a security checkpoint for every like 4 or 5 gates. Yeah. And that's where once you get through that checkpoint, that's where there's basically 2 little like convenience store stands.
Right.
And 1 bathroom with like 1 stall, 2 stalls in the women's, one stall and 1 urinal in the men's. And so like when a flight comes in, there's a bunch of people waiting in line. It's just so inefficient. Anyway, but again, if it was like 1975 and you were like just trucking in, hop on your plane, take off, you have your family maybe comes with you, you hang out, maybe the restaurants were actually open back then, who knows.
Or you cared less about restaurants because they fed you on planes, right?
Right,
like it's
yeah,
just
good point. Yeah.
Designed for a different era of air travel. And so...
Yeah, architecturally I think it's kind of interesting. It's just not interesting for an airport.
Right.
Because like from the top there's like a map and it looks neat. I think it's kind of an interesting idea conceptually.
Yeah, it's just it didn't roll with the times.
No.
They're building new terminals now. So hopefully when we fly in and out of there not near future, but like
in a couple years, hopefully we'll have some better stuff. Anyways, that's enough about the airport. While we were there, right, so we didn't spend as much time in Manhattan this time. We did go for a nice walk in the Konza Prairie nature trail or nature area, which is beautiful. It was like 2.5 miles, perfect walk.
Yeah, there were a few different options that you could do. You could do a 2.5 or a 4.5 or a 6 mile walk. I mean, I think we wisely chose the 2.5 mile because it was 40 degrees and windy, but sunny.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that I've realized about myself. If you offer me a walk before Thanksgiving dinner, I will definitely take it. It was pleasant. If you want me to take a walk after dinner, like, just know. I want to sit, and I want to drink my wine, and I want to eat some pie, and if you make me go outside, I will resent it.
That's funny. This is a normal thing that we normally try to convince you to do stuff after.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, because a lot of people in the world do like that early, well, a lot of people in America do that early afternoon dinner, and then you're packing in a bunch of stuff, and then people want to get a little bit, get your digestion moving a little bit, and so I can see that, but yeah, we generally don't in our family. We've always...
I mean, I like eating a little bit later. I don't want to eat at 1 o'clock. I mean, I do sometimes, but like I don't want to eat at 1 o'clock if you're gonna make me take a walk afterwards.
Have the walk first.
I'll take a 5 mile walk and then eat at 4 o'clock and be a happy camper.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, this
but
time
you're
I
settled
just took a 2.5 mile walk and then ate at like 6 o'clock, and I was totally a happy camper.
But man, it is beautiful out on that nature trail. You take a little bit of a hike up a hill, and you end up on a high point. And so there's plenty of people think about Kansas as being extremely flat, and I think the western side of Kansas must be flatter. The eastern, and there's definitely expanses of openness, which I think appear to be flat.
Yeah.
It's different than Nebraska or like Northwest Ohio.
Yeah, maybe it's a confusion between open space and flatness, right? Because, I mean, and there are certainly places, I'm sure, in Kansas that are very flat. I'm not super well versed in Kansas. I know Kansas City and Manhattan.
And the drive between them, which is open and flat-ish.
Right.
But there's lots of, like, rolling hills and lots of interesting, what's the word, where soil goes away? Erosion. Yeah. So interesting erosion where you stand on the top of that rise on the Konza Trail, and you can fill in the gaps where things have eroded, but otherwise you can see how this was the ocean floor at some point before it raised up as part of plate tectonics and all that science stuff.
Which is really interesting, right? Like, I don't think you get such a good glimpse of the sort of geological time when you're not. I don't think you get it on the East Coast.
No, I think you're right, because in Colorado, you've got the dramatic peaks. Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, all that. You get the dramatic peaks where you can see where those plates crush together. But there's something else just about, this sort of slow pace of things change. You would get it at like the Grand Canyon and things like that.
Right, which is also out west. I just don't think you really see it as much on the East Coast. And I'm sorry, East Coasters, maybe you have insight into this that I do not have. But
I think it's humbling in a way. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no. Agreed. So the walkway is really nice. I would recommend doing it if you're ever in Manhattan, Konza Prairie. It's like, 15 minutes outside of town. Pretty straightforward drive, nice parking lot. No dogs. And hilariously, as we were coming back, I was like, but that person's carrying a dog. It turned out to be a child. So, but it was a child in
a dog suit.
No, it was in the color snowsuit that is like the color of a Labradoodle. Yeah. So, parents, let this be a warning to you.
If you don't want us to think your children are pets,
don't
dress them as dogs.
Well, put them in bright colored snowsuits.
Okay.
No beige.
Beige. That was most of Manhattan. We only spent a few days in Manhattan this time.
Right.
A lot of it was just relaxing, did a little bit of raking. And
I didn't do any raking.
We did some more sort of like day trips or extended trips out of Manhattan than we have in the past, which are definitely nice and rewarding. The first one was actually the first day we were there. We went out to Topeka, Kansas.
Right. Excuse me. So, as kind of incongruous as it seems, right? Like, Topeka is the site of Brown versus Board of Education. You think of a lot of the civil rights actions as happening in the South or the Deep South, but Brown versus Board of Education was a part of 5 other lawsuits, many of which were in the South.
I have to admit, I didn't know that. Before that, it was interesting
I knew that there were multiples, but I didn't know that. I didn't know any details about them. Yeah. And I know there was an earlier lawsuit brought in California by a Mexican family that was not addressed at all in that museum. And I did not look up any information about it, although I did write a thing about it a while ago, which is the only reason I know about it. Anyway.
But it's part of the Civil Rights Trail.
Right. So Civil Rights Trail is all national monuments or national historic places or whatever. I don't know if any of them are national parks. I don't think so. But
that's a good question.
Different.
But they're part of the Park Service, though.
They're serviced by Park Service. But I think national park they're just different spatially, right? But monuments, like places of historical import, etc., that are all on this Civil Rights Trail.
And you've done a bunch of them. Rachel got a pamphlet for the Civil Rights Trail while we were there, and like counting them up, she's done like 18. I've probably done a third of those together with her. But that was like not even a quarter of all of them.
There's so many of them that are. And there's a lot of them that are, I think, like places that are marked or that have markers, right? Not necessarily it's like a full museum.
Right, yeah.
Or like places that are important that you can do a tour of, right? Like I did a tour of the church that MLK was pastor of in Montgomery, like during the bus boycott. And it's still a church. It's not like it's a museum now, but it is on this Civil Rights Trail.
Right, makes sense.
So now I have the completionist in me has a goal to want to hit more of these.
Well, some of these are states like we've never been to or haven't been to recently.
Yeah, I've never been to Arkansas. So definitely haven't seen any of the sites there. Or, just places that, like, like I've been to Louisiana, but I've only been to New Orleans. And so there's a bunch of sites that are outside of New Orleans that are on this Civil Rights Trail.
Yeah, so the Brown versus Board of Education, historic, because it's not a historic site that we were at. It's like the museum, sort of.
Yeah, museum. Yeah.
So I think it is also a historic site, but it was an all-black school, and it was part of some of the things that were going on in Topeka related to Brown versus Board of Education, and it was obviously just that separate and equal is inherently not equal.
Right.
So this wasn't one of the famous schools like the Central.
Oh, right, yeah. It wasn't one of the ones that, like, you see pictures of as, like, the sort of forced integration schools, right? It was just a school where the community, not just parents, but the full community rallied around the idea of, like, our children are getting a fundamentally unequal education.
Yeah,
right?
And also what they kind of have there is this was a reasonably nice school. They showed examples of other ones that were, at least one of them was part of one of the 5 lawsuits. I forget which one it was, but it was just like tar paper shacks.
Yeah,
basically.
that was the one in Farmville, Virginia, I think. And if you read John Lewis's March, like, you'll see his representation of the school that he went to versus the white people's schools. And a big part of it with this one, like Matt said, the building was nice, and it wasn't like a dangerous or like really, sort of like terrible place to go to school, but you might have to walk 6 miles to get there.
Yeah.
Right? Or you might have to wait 2 hours for the bus to pick you up or something, right? Like, while you watch
it was a
people
lot of
walk to or get bused or take the bus to schools that are much, much closer.
Right. Yeah.
To your
Just
home.
the all the surrounding infrastructure,
Right.
the funding they had. So it fascinating. That was a nice, concise museum experience. Ultimately, walked you through, had a lot of videos and a lot of firsthand experience. The thing that absolutely stood out to me, though, and I think with all this critical race theory bullshit that's happening, the thing that's so not surprising but just really driven home is how recent this was.
Yep.
Like, our folks were all alive during this time that these things were going on.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Your dad was in junior high. So yeah, I mean, it's not far in the past.
No, right. And so really a good reminder. It was a good experience.
And when we got home to find out that, to stick with the sort of like questions of race and civil rights in America, to find out that Ahmaud Arbery's killers were found guilty of, chasing him down and murdering him. And by a jury that only had one white member on
or
it.
only one black member.
Only one black member, I'm sorry.
Right.
And that's such a huge sort of moment, but like much like we saw with George Floyd's case, right? This only happened because someone recorded it.
And that he sort of self-incriminated himself.
He did self-incriminate himself because he thought that they had done nothing wrong and released this, which is
bullshit.
It just speaks to like the sort of way that people perceive reality, and that it's very, very skewed sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
and that we have a lot of work to do, so need to remain diligent.
Right. But it's a point that gives you hope, but also a point to remind you to record things, I guess, when you feel as though something wrong is happening. It probably is, and you should record it because otherwise things can get real tossed under the rug.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, on that light note, should we take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the second half?
There's more art and less racism in the second half.
Well, we just talk about it less. And miniatures.
Right. For the art side of this chat, we headed to Kansas City for the last 2 days that we were there. Not 2 full days. We flew out evening of the second day. But anyway, we headed to the Plaza area of Kansas City, which is on the Missouri side.
The Country Club Plaza.
Yeah.
And which I looked it up, and it turns out it was the first suburban commercial shopping center And
Designed for people to drive there.
Well, it was the first suburban commercial shopping center, and the first regional one to be focused on cars. I don't know how that distinction works, how you can be one and not the other one, but anyway, it's basically a giant outdoor mall, but in a way that you don't perceive it as an outdoor mall.
Right, and I mean, as it being the first, right, this is from 1920.
Yeah, 28 or something, or
7 or 28. Yeah, so,
I forget.
And it's all modeled after southern Spain, so it's got like
Moorish architecture and tiles
and all of that. So if you've been to Sevilla or Cordoba or any of those places, like it seems very familiar, right? Like they're definitely building on that architecture.
Now, here's the other thing that I think is kind of interesting is, so here in Atlanta we have this area called Atlantic Station, and it sort of bugs me, but it's a designed community which is shopping and residential. So the Plaza
and business, there's a lot
in
of
business, right?
Businesses there.
And the Plaza in Kansas City was designed around like retail, commerce, restaurants, and businesses. I don't think they have much. There's residential in the surrounding area, close surrounding area. But for some reason, like maybe just because it's been there longer, or maybe it's because it takes place in around normal city streets instead of a little segmented area that you drive into and then feel separate.
I'm sure it felt separate and segmented when it was built.
You're probably right. Yeah, but when I go to it now, it just feels like, oh, these are a bunch of buildings that look in a similar style and have a lot of it's a little downtown type shopping area, but it doesn't feel so constructed. But it's funny that it was constructed too.
Right.
And I raised my nose up a little bit at Atlantic Station, but the Plaza, I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's quaint.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a matter of like age, because there are exactly the same shops at
I know. That's the other thing too.
Atlantic Station.
Yeah. And according to my stepmother, though, traditionally that wasn't the case, right? Like it was more local, regional sort of shops. Well, chains are a thing of the last 30 years and a different level than they were before.
But it's definitely like you don't go to the Plaza to get any different store than you can get at a regular mall, because there aren't any.
No.
Like truly.
There was a nice little like local what's the word I'm looking for? Like not a commune collective.
It's like a local goods store, but honestly,
it was all the same crap too. Not the same crap.
No, you can find there is actually a local Atlanta goods store in Lenox Mall, right?
Right.
So to say that you could find it at any mall, you actually can.
Oh, all right. Yeah, good. That's a good point. Yeah. But it was that was a nice little shop. They had a coffee shop. They had a little bar in the back. We didn't partake in any of that stuff, but it was a bunch of little stalls that had like letterpress stuff or.
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought the stuff that they had, the goods that they had were cool, and I bought some of them for sure. But like, it is again like it
is a mall,
just like the one We Love ATL or whatever it is shop at Lenox Mall. It was the We Love KC shop in the Plaza.
So we only really walked around there a little bit.
Yeah,
we did it the second morning of the second day. We walked through it on the first day we were there when we were on our way to the Nelson-Atkins Museum.
Right, which is their big museum for art, right? I don't know what all museums for art exist in Kansas City.
There's also a contemporary art museum I would like to go to at some point.
But the Nelson-Atkins is definitely like, it was probably built, I suppose, around the same time as the Plaza.
Oh, I wrote it down. 1933 is when it was opened.
Shortly after. Definitely more like sort of neoclassical architecture on the main building, but really lovely like open space. Like the image from the front of this podcast is from their sculpture garden of the shuttlecock. Yeah,
so it's sort of their kind of one of their iconic symbols for Kansas City is the Claus-Oldenburg shuttlecocks. So it's just sort of this like giant badminton thing. And there's a few
multiple of them.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, you're right. It's like just a giant lawn area with some sculptures around, and then the old building, and then a newer building that added a bunch. But the place is massive.
Oh yeah, it's really big. We couldn't. I mean, if we had been there longer, we could have made it through the whole thing. But I was tired after the like 4 hours or whatever that we were there.
Yeah, I think we looked generally at about 2/3 of it.
Yeah, it was complicated to get around on Saturday because they were setting up for what is apparently a giant debutante ball.
Still exists, evidently.
I mean, it was Friday, not Saturday. I think the debutante ball was Saturday.
Was on Saturday, yep.
Oh my gosh. So a bunch of rooms were closed off. There were more flowers than you could shake a stick at. I mean, eventually there would be more debutantes that you could shake a stick at. But it was, it was through the whole museum, right? It wasn't like one floor. It was
like any open space, like where there's some transitionary, like pass-through areas between some of the galleries. Those were turned into like places for seating. Yeah, they would have been nuts. But like it's like the Met in micro scale, but still massive scale. A lot of good stuff. I was also impressed with the solid selection of artists and representative pieces of those artists. One of my complaints, and actually maybe I should say my brother's complaint, but once he pointed it out, I was like, yeah, you're right, is like the High Museum here in Atlanta. Cool collection. There's some great visiting exhibits that come through. But when you look through some of the galleries, it's a little bit of the also-rans, right? Like they have some big people, Thomas R. Benton, but you're not really going to see Picasso's. You're going to see like the other Cubists that aren't even Juan Gris that's how we're doing stuff at the same time.
Which Juan Gris better than Picasso.
I wonder if he was as miserable of a sexist as Picasso too. Maybe he was, but we just don't hear about him as much.
Now I'm going to Google it after we're done with this.
So
Juan Gris.
So there was some great
misogynist.
representations. They had like Gauguin and Pissarro and Monet's and just like a good survey, I would say. And then the newer building, the block or something like that building, is all the contemporary modern. There was a cool...
There's a really nice photography exhibit. And I think they had photographs from just the collection, and then they had a special, not like special exhibit, but like a focus from the collection on like sort of, is this real life? Is this just fantasy? Question mark. I don't remember what it was called. It wasn't called that, but basically like kind of optical illusions.
I would almost...
It's not really optical illusions.
No, it was more like optical jokes almost in some of them. Or like winks.
Right.
So I know some examples, right? There's the famous milk drop.
Advertisement photo from the...
Was it an advertisement? Maybe it was, but it was like it was a high-speed photo of looks like a milk crown, basically. You've probably seen it if you aren't envisioning. If you saw it, you would.
White.
Yeah. But someone else like made a sculpture of it that was not a stop-motion picture of a drip of milk. It was like, but it looked like it was. But if you look close, you could see there were wires and it was being held together. And the picture was taken of the setup, not of the image. So you see like the scaffolding behind, outside the frame and all that sort of stuff. And then there's also, I forget the guy's name, Vic. It's not Vic, is it? But he had an exhibit here in Atlanta, but he also like recreated it in chocolate syrup. So it's like references that are sort of like, that's where I think it's like the wink, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about it. And then there was like, what's his name? Abelardo Morel or something. That guy. We have a book of his over there. That's why I looked over there, because we saw his exhibit. He's the one who does the flipped pinhole things.
Oh, right. Yeah. Where it projects the city on the ceiling of the
building.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were some people we'd seen before and some things we hadn't seen before, but it was a fun, like, it just reminds you that art is fun, I guess.
Yeah. So that was a fun part. There were some real small but nice selection of, like, modern ceramics, which I always like to see. Shout out to the... I'm not going to remember the name of it for some reason. The one in Syracuse, New York.
I don't remember the name.
The Everson. The Everson Museum. If you're ever in Syracuse, please go there and support them. They've got an amazing ceramics collection.
They're great.
But yeah, no, the Nelson-Atkins was great. We did skip the top floor. I wish I would have seen it, but it also means we'll just have fun and be able to go back.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend visiting if you go. Just be patient with trying to figure out where the hell to go when you get there, because the signage could be a little better about the flow.
And I'm not sure that
The debutante ball might have screwed that up some.
Yeah, I think it probably was much easier to get around when, like, the main thoroughfares weren't closed off by purple
tables and
purple-covered tables and flowers and people fussing.
Yeah. So that was day one. We did that, and then we went to nice dinner, relaxed, and then a cool cocktail place that just opened called Prime Social. Yeah.
It's a rooftop bar. It was very hip.
Very hip. Cocktails were fun and interesting.
Yeah, they were. There was a lot of cleavage happening
in the cocktails.
In the place.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not in the cocktails. My cocktails had no cleavage personally.
No. But my cocktail did have what is it? Nocino, which is black walnut liqueur that Rachel happened to find recently. It was pretty interesting. And
I would recommend that if you like kind of rich sort of liqueurs. I mean, you're not going to be like chugging it, obviously, right? But as a flavoring. Nocino is super interesting. So Matt got a Nocino cocktail. I got one that had, it was supposed to have chamomile in it. It probably did.
I couldn't taste it.
Like, it was like creme de violette or whatever. And that was
a beautiful color.
Yeah, I think that was the predominant flavor because it was vodka and creme de violette. And then, like it said, raisin and chamomile. But those were all
a little lost.
All totally background. So I'm not sure that I live in a city that has a really great cocktail culture, and thus
high standards.
Thus, I'm not sure that I could taste all of the things that it promised.
But I would say it tasted good. It was had nice lively atmosphere.
I certainly would recommend going. It was fun.
Yeah. Your second one was the funky one.
Yeah, it had this buzz blossom thing, which is it had a little flower in it that makes your tongue numb, and you're supposed to bite the flower, and then drink the cocktail.
But when I tasted the flower too, it was almost made my mouth effervescent.
Yeah,
it was tingly.
Yeah, it was a tingly, numbing sort of, almost Szechuan-y kind of experience, but not with the heat sense of Szechuan, right? Like the numbing sense, but not the heat sense.
But it was kind of a fun little.
Oh yeah,
thing.
It was totally fun. All the drinks that we had, I tried everybody's. So all of them were good, and it was very it was fun. Get reservations though.
Oh yeah.
If you didn't have reservations, there were a lot of people just sitting downstairs at the bottom of the elevator waiting to get upstairs.
Yeah. Call ahead. And then the last thing we did in Kansas City really was, we got some pizza that was pretty good, but we went to the I think it's the National Museum of Toys and Miniatures.
Yep.
It's the second time we've been there. It's a cool place.
I'm just fascinated by people who are so good at such a random thing, right? Like making miniatures. I'm fascinated by people who are so good at making real size furniture.
Right.
But then when you do that on a 1/30th scale, it's just crazy.
So I put a bunch of pictures up. I had to do 2 posts on Instagram for that. Actually, there's some pictures of both things. But check out on Instagram, @rainedin_podcast, or @rainedin-podcast, rainedin-podcast. I forget what the hell it is.
It's a dash on Facebook.
But check us out on those. You can see some of the pictures of the miniatures. But yeah, like Rachel said, you're impressed with normal size furniture. There's 2 good examples that they have in sort of the process area where, we're talking about a violin that's the 3/4 of an inch tall. And they build it like a real freaking violin. They bend the wood and it's not they just carve a solid piece of raw wood and it's called a violin, but they actually build it. And there's another one that's even cooler. It's probably 1.5 inch tall cabinet with 8 drawers in it.
Yep, all the drawers pull out, and then
there's dovetails.
Yeah, the dovetails
on all of them.
Make all the joints just like you do.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting too is that there were 4 videos that you could watch about process making, and I only watched 2. I watched the pottery one and I watched the dovetail joint one. Both of the creators though had super shaky hands.
I noticed that. We talked about that too, my folks.
And I was dang, I don't. You're obviously able to like hold that in check enough when you're like actually putting paintbrush to plate.
Did it just look like they were vibrating more because the camera was so zoomed in too? But I think the one Rachel's talking about in particular is it's probably a little over an inch, a platter, that it just has this super detailed, I think it's Spanish too, like fish scales and just all this stuff. And she's just painting it with like a few bristles.
Yep. Multiple layers. And she has the tiniest kiln. It's like the size of a
shoebox
toaster oven. Yeah. I mean, it's really cute.
But yeah, her hands are just like shaking like crazy. But then she does this thing and it looks
perfect. It's delicate and amazing.
But there's all sorts of stuff. There's furniture, musical instruments, like glass, metalwork, ceramics.
You can make miniature things of anything, is what you learn when you go to this museum.
Yeah. Animals, people, luggage was one of the ones I thought was kind of cool.
I love the working drawers. I think that's what one of the things that I am the most fascinated by is the working drawers. So if you're ever in Kansas City, we've been there twice now, and I would certainly go back a third time. Like I really I enjoy it. I just love looking at this world of like dedication that people have to doing something really, really well that is entirely random.
Yeah. And some of the displays too are just collections of similar things or like little semi-vignettes using a similar thing. But then there's also like massive miniature dollhouses. And I kind of like there's what they call like the miniature maze or whatever. But it's a dark hallway, you walk through it, and there's just like rooms that you're looking into the room, but you can see there's other things behind it, and you can't really see in it, but it almost just looks like it's almost like a little like voyeuristic or something, like looking in these little houses.
Yeah, because there's parts of it that they have built out that you clearly can't ever see well or at all, probably from the vantage point of the
But you can tell there's
viewer,
something there.
But it's still built out. Yeah.
Yeah. The maybe the most like the it's not disappointing. It's a little bit sad. It's a little unfortunate that there's 2 floors to this museum, and it's 2 women that started. That it's based on the collection of 2 women. One woman was all about miniatures, and one was all about toys. And so upstairs is the toys. And both times we've gone, we've been a little bit overwhelmed by how much amazing stuff there is in the miniature section. By the time you get up to the toys, I'm a little bit worn out.
If we go a third time, we should definitely start with the toys.
Yeah.
I didn't even really go to the toys section this time. I needed a minute, so I just sat in the gift shop and read my book. Yeah,
that's fair. But the toy section is cool too. It's broken out by like decades and like different things that were happening, and like it is also well worth the time. The funny thing is, my dad had talked to someone at the hotel and said we were thinking about going there, and they highly recommended it. But they said you may not want to take kids, which is weird because there's all his toys, but because a lot of times, like it sounded like his kids just wanted to play with everything and then got disappointed and frustrated because you can't touch anything, really.
Right.
There's a little bit of stuff you can touch in the toy section, but it's more, I do think it's more of like nostalgia.
Yeah, it is really, it's built around like a love of nostalgia and a love of craft, really, more than it is around like actual being able to play with anything.
Yeah. Highly recommended, though. I would say both those museums, check them out, make some time for them, check them out on the internet. And but yeah, that's our Kansas.
That's our Kansas
trip. Yeah.
Kansas podcast.
It was fun. It was only like 5 days. I was definitely ready we're home, taking an extra day before we start our work week again.
Oh my gosh, travel is different post pandemic. Like it really. I did get very used to being at home, and like I like being at home. I mean, I like traveling too.
Yeah.
But I'm leaving again in like 5 days, and
Rachel's got 2 trips to Colorado in the month of December.
About it. I'm gone for 15 days in this 31-day month.
Thank you. So part of this is we talked in the past. If you want to check out our past episodes about some tiny house planning and such. Tiny house is coming together.
It is in fact together.
Yeah.
In that it has walls and a roof and will not
it's
fall down.
It's got most of its utilities set up, I think.
If the big bad Wolf blows really hard.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like got some stuff for earthquake and wind. So because it was designed by a company out of Washington State, but I think they do stuff in California. So there's like that, and then they did some extra stuff for us because we're on sort of some windy areas. So there's stuff for shear strength and all that. But anyways, house is coming together. It's pretty cool. We're excited about that.
It is together, but there's no interior.
Yeah.
So my job next week is to try to do something.
So we'll have another one of these before the end of the year, hopefully, about Colorado.
Yeah, about the process of finishing a tiny house instead of starting a tiny house. It's not quite a tiny house because it's 510 square feet. Tiny houses are under 500, but it is.
It's a small house.
The little gem.
Yeah, 1 bedroom. And the other thing we're working on, too, just to draw out this long episode, is we've decided our next international trip, fingers crossed that Omicron and all the other Omicron, anyways, all the variants, we continue to hopefully keep them in check as much as we can. But if we, the health willing and world willing, we'll hopefully go to Iceland next May. So if you've been to Iceland and have anything you want to share,
you should definitely share it with us.
Let us know.
Because we are getting excited.
Yep. All right. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Until next time.
You can check us out at anchor.fm/rainitin. That's spelled REINITIN, all one word, no spaces, and you can leave us a message there. You can also follow us at Instagram at rainitin_podcast or email us at rainitin@ssdpress.org, also spelled REINITIN at ssdpress.org. Thanks again to all of our friends and family for all the support and for putting up with us. Have a great day.